Hi, everybody. Good morning or good afternoon. We're coming to you from East L.A. This is Rosanna. I'm Rosanna Esparza Ahrens, and I'm in my mother's home, Ofelia Esparza, and she's prepping to start the altar for the elders. And while she's coming in, I'm going to show you some of the items that we've gathered together for this altar. Let me read this. So in this piece, we always put my grandmothers and my dad in the altar. So this is my pop. He passed away in 1991, and we miss him every day. So every time we put an altar, it doesn't matter who it's for or what the concept is, he's there, always. And of course, his mama, um, Grandma Dora Esparza, and then La Mera Mera, my grandmother, Mama Lupe. Yes, I look like her. She's my mom's mom, and she's the La Maestra, and she learned from her Mama Pola, who she was her great great grandmother, my grandmother's great great grandmother. So imagine all those generations that ofrenda altar making has come from through her. And we're also adding my tia Rosie. This is my mom's little sister, and I think she's turning 80 this year. And she's one of the more vulnerable population, with this coronavirus thing happening, so she's hunkered down in her apartment. But we want to this altar is meant for the elders because we want to connect with them, not just on the phone, but spiritually and emotionally and energetically. And so we're creating an altar as this bridge between my Aunt Rosie and us. And then this is my brother David and his wife Stella. And Stella is, she's an amazing woman, and we have her on this altar because we want her to know that we support her. She is a trooper. She's battling cancer, and she's doing well. She's doing really well, and we just want her to stay that way. So this piece is meant to connect us energetically. So here's my mom, Ofelia. You could say a few words.
Everybody. Well, I started it. This space here is normally my home altar. It came down because of my place was being painted, and putting it back, we decided to dedicate it to, as Rosanna said, elders and to people who we pray for and who we need for their protection and their well-being. And she already explained to you some of the photographs. This is a great spot for my home altar. There's always an altar here all year long, and the focal point here, it's behind this painting of La Virgen. She's called Doña Guadalupe, and I wanted to depict this duality of representing all of us. In my own family, I have grandchildren of African American descent, of European descent, and so she loves all of us. And so the baby Jesus, as you could see, resembles one of my great grandsons, and the Virgin, one of my granddaughters. And my son made this beautiful frame for it. And so this is the central part, where the altar overlooking all of us. And I collect Guadalupes. I'm not putting all of them on just now, but they will all have a space and a niche in this altar as it progresses. This is only the preliminary parts. Gathering the photographs of people are still, they're to tell you the truth, they're boxed because we were painting. But these are named, Rosanna already explained, my brother.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always put the foundation.
Well, I haven't yet. So you could talk about your brother.
Yes.
Yeah.
My brother, my oldest brother, my dear brother, he's been my hero all my life since I was a child, and he's 94, I think, 94. He's very fragile. He has lost a lot of his eyesight, his hearing, but he has a great mind, and he's still a storyteller. Um, and so he's confined to his home, and his wife, a wonderful woman who's close to his age, is also confined to her home. But her children watch over them and take turns in taking care of them. So I wanted to not only honor him, but I pray for his well-being and for his protection. So he's very important in this altar. I always have my mother and my husband and my grandfather, and I won't have him here yet. Like I said, this is in progress. But my husband, of course, I always have him, like Rosanna said. And for me, I mean, I'm 88, and I think my children take very good care of me and make sure that that I follow all the things to prevent any infection. And so I'm very happy that my children support me. Not only my children, my whole family. And I'm sure that many people are doing this from a distance. And Rosanna is my neighbor, so we have this open connection that we observe. As I said, I have a collection of my mother's tradition of home altars was nacimientos, and like I said, I collect nacimientos and Guadalupes, but I love folk art. I have several pieces by Josefina Aguilar and her sister Concepcion. The storyteller is by Josefina. And this was a gift from Rosanna many years ago, because one of my favorite characters is Snoopy. And so this charming little altar, nacimiento. And then this one is an antique. It was my uncle's, my Uncle Frank. When he died in his apartment, he had this. This goes back to the 30s. And it's some of the things that my mother used to have in her nacimientos. This was a gift from my brother Albert, and I have to put his picture in here too, because he's my youngest brother, who also needs a lot of protection, and I pray for him. He's a Vietnam veteran, and he's physically, not doing well from his wounds during that war. But his spirit and his mind and his humor are still there, and so his wife takes very good care of him, and I pray for both of them. And then,
so you're going to use this in your altar.
I'm going to use this grandmother storyteller as the place, because she represents all of the elders. The wisdom and the stories and the prayers and the costumbres all come from our elders. And since my mother and her great grandmother were the form of my instruction, my knowledge, and now my children, of course, look to me. And so I think this is a very appropriate. I'll put her here. But I'm going to put a little doilies, because I put a doily. I like all the doilies I used were once my mother's, and so they're always in my altars. And I have quite a collection, because she just had so many.
This piece, I actually purchased it for my mom. I loved it because it really represented her, and it also reminded me of the elders in our lives. She actually looks like
My God, yeah.
like our good friend, and she's another grandmother, Marcaria Melendres, and she was always. She lives in Arizona, and we would go visit. We'd take our family vacations out to Arizona, and She was the heartbeat of that house. You know, every morning she'd be making tortillas and um, cooking. She was always cooking and just feeding us with love. She was a beautiful woman. And the same goes for my grandmother, Dora, and my Mama Lupe, and for my mom. And so we felt like this piece really says it all, uh, on how we feel about the elders that are still living, that are still here with us, and they need support. So we're using this altar as, let's say, a portal of love, a portal of energy, a portal of healing and protection to all the folks that we're placing on the altar. So as my mom arranges everything, um, you know, you can hear some stories about one or two of these photos and from my mom.
Well, this one is one of my grandsons. His job is very vulnerable, and so he's out there because he's a
Police officer.
he's a policeman, and so I pray for him every day. And he's a wonderful family man, a wonderful son and grandson and sibling, and he's always been very, very kind and loving, and so he's always in my prayers. All our family, because of course, he's out there and exposed to many things, as you well know. I think that
I put Rosie, put all the photos.
the hummingbird is my spirit animal, and so I always have the hummingbirds here. Okay. This is most of my collections have been gifts from my children. My daughter Denise gave me this many years ago because for the nacimientos that I put up, and so I've carried on my mother's tradition, and I have many vintage pieces for a nacimiento. So the altars that I do and that my children are doing, Rosanna, they really are a reflection of that tradition of the nacimientos, with many levels and many things that tell stories. And I love to have many things on the altars. It's I feel hugged to see all these.
Rita's watching.
items.
Say hello to Rita,
Hi Rita, how are you?
your niece. Your niece. Send her a message.
I'm glad that you're on, and I don't know what you're doing.
Rita, I'm so glad that you're watching. We'd love to have a photograph of your two kids altar because
Yes.
they're so vulnerable here, and you know, Rita's taking care of her two adult children that need care in her home, and you know, she's another one of those heroes, and we love her so much, and we appreciate her for her strength and her just ability to move forward, constantly moving forward. And she gets that, you know, from her mom and my dad. She's part of the Esparza family, so we love you, Rita. Um, somebody's asking, what do the different levels mean on the altar?
Uh, you know, I I usually put 3 levels, or that was the tradition that I have used because my mother did. But because the altars are very humble, a home altar, I have learned that some people have adhered to a tradition of more than 3 levels, 4 and 5 levels. I didn't learn that from my mother. I've learned it throughout the years that I've been doing altars for many people, because there's many traditions from Mexico especially. But I think that the the bottom level was, of course, I always put all the artifacts present. I mean, I guess the foundation, the little items, but the second level is usually the motives, and the top level is to who you're honoring. And some people say it's like heaven, and the present, and then our beginnings, our birth. That's a good standard, I believe, because it instructs you of the things that you might think of to put in your altar. Although I don't adhere to that, I have multi-levels, and I usually like to have uneven levels. My aesthetic or my artistic eye feels more comfortable with the kind of a contrast and balance at the same time. So that's important for me, but traditionally, anything that you want to put in your altar, whatever levels, is correct, because it's vision and your creation. And I think, you could look up there's much information that I have found. I still stick to my own, learning and my own style, but I'm very aware of these different levels that people from different, understand and use.
Somebody mentioned that the hummingbird is a symbol of transformation.
The hummingbird is very important. It is a symbol of transformation, and I learned very early that the hummingbird represents our spirit, our soul. And when I learned many years ago, when I was a young college student, in my when I started delving more into the Mexican heritage, pre-Columbian, how the hummingbird was believed to be the soul and the spirit of those who had passed, especially of warriors who had died in battle, or women who had died in childbirth, or those who had suffered a very terrible death, or whatever, however it happened. So this, but then in addition, the monarch butterfly has also represented the souls of those who have come back to visit us. That goes back to ancient pre-Columbian tradition. And I always wondered, maybe that's how the ancient Mexicans saw the monarchs who came by the thousands, maybe millions, to central Mexico every year. And so they felt that was the souls coming back to visit us. So there's a lot of tradition and symbolism, yes, and I always have hummingbirds. As I said, that's my animal spirit, or my spirit, my animal guide, I guess you could call it. And so it's in all of my artwork, in my altars, in my house. And people give me hummingbirds. So I'm in the process of, redoing my sala, and so we're going to have lots of hummingbirds, especially
Let's get the
hanging.
other pictures on there. Do you have a picture of Angelina?
I don't have one.
Okay. I think maybe you can mention that.
My photographs are actually still in boxes that I have to take out, but I definitely will have my sister, Evangeline, who is in a home, I guess, assisted living home, and of course we can't visit her right now, and she's always in my thoughts and prayers. We grew up very close. She's only a year younger than I am, and I pray for her, and so I'm still looking for a photograph that I want to put up here. I have shots, but I'm looking for photographs because those are the ones that I don't think I want to put Grandma Dora up here too. My husband's mother, a wonderful woman, Dora Esparza. And then I have kind of other things. Let me see. I have all these things here that I gathered.
So again, while my mom's getting other things for the altar, I just want to go over this altar is intended for the elders that are still with us, that are still living, that we're protecting, that are in quarantine, and their close family members are taking care of them. But since we can't visit them, we're creating this altar as a portal of love, a portal of energy to them, and so that they're with us in spirit here. And in a minute, we're going to light some sage and use the eagle feather to send our love and to send this healing energy to them, a circle of protection, and just to communicate and to engage with them in an energetic way, using the ofrenda as the portal.
This little bouquet is very special to me. Yes, it's artificial, but I bought it about 15 years ago at the First Street store, an icon in my neighborhood that many people from East L.A. Frequented. Many women worked there throughout the years. It was in business for over 80 years, and it was a very very sad time when it had to close. But the facade of the murals that are there were saved. It was quite a struggle to save the murals, and so I have many mementos, many of the nacimiento and small items from that I use in my altars, and many of the gifts my children used to buy for me with $1. They'd go to the First Street store to give me my gifts.
Two comments. One is, I was told a vision of my son came through butterflies. Wow. Okay, and then the other is, how do you honor pets that have passed on?
I honor pets. They're part of my altar because they're part of my life, and in fact, I have one. I have to get it out.
Well, there's one in here with her.
Where is it?
It's right there with the grandma.
That's right. This is a beautiful piece. It says so much, and it addresses so much of us. I'm not just talking personally, but my family and many people in our culture. It's beautiful. And it always reminds me not only of who gave it to me, which is my daughter, but of my mother, of the grandmothers, of the wonderful women who nurtured us, and then of us being part of that nurturing, the things we learned.
Mm-hmm. And the butterflies? Do you want to say something about the butterflies?
Well, the monarch butterfly is the one I was talking about, and I usually put lots on. I'll put some hanging somewhere, but I only have this one in this box that I gathered. But it represents souls of all the ones that you don't name, that I don't have photographs of, beyond my own family, and especially today. We pray and that their spirit is protected, and that, the altars are more than just Day of the Dead for me and for many people. My mother, she had an altar all year long, and it changed with the different themes throughout the year. But the thing that connects us to who we are, to our knowledge of our heritage, of our ancestors, and it's a bridge. For Day of the Dead, it's a bridge between the living and the dead, but it's also a bridge of generations. Just in this little altar, the women, the items, they are this bridge of generations. My children, my grandchildren, my mother, my great-grandmother, they're all represented here in one way. So all the items are very symbolic, like I said, the doilies, the flowers, the little knickknacks. And then the things that I feel are important. It's very, I always say it's like a hug, un abrazo, to be a rebozo around you when you talk about and construct an altar and do it and do the research and look at the things that you need to put in and your intention. It's all connected, and it goes beyond a special time. It it's an affirmation. It's a carry on of tradition of who you are, of your family, and the connection with our community.
Yes.
And I get very emotional because it's more than my mother would say, not only for altars for Day of the Dead, but just remembering our ancestors and honoring. She was very religious. She always had Our Lady Guadalupe, but other santos. It's almost like an obligation to carry on your own traditions. They will be lost forever, and I think if that happens, what a loss to the families, to the generations that you don't have that. It's a support. It's an affirmation. It's a strength that we gather from this knowledge and this kind of tradition.
There's one comment. Tamara Becerra Valdez says, growing up, my mother would make monarchs from aluminum foil and hang them above the altar. We had them up all year long. Thanks for sharing, Doña Ofelia. And then Amy Kitchener says she recognizes the Josefina Aguilar and the grandma piece. And she has a small collection of hers too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Say hi to Amy.
Hi, Amy. This is new for me to actually, talk while I'm doing this altar, and of course it's not complete. You'll see a full version later, but I always think of all the women that are so important in my family, in my life, even my family. I think of my best teacher I ever had, Mrs. Cowan. I think she's still alive. I haven't heard that she hasn't passed. She's only 2 years younger, but she was a woman that I admire, a hero woman. How she loved teaching, and how she understood teaching, how children learn, and how she loved our children. She taught in East L.A., African American teacher, who grew up who was born in Alabama, in that culture of racism, but she had this strength and this fortitude, this confidence and this knowledge that she was tough too. She stood up for everybody's rights, including our children.
Okay. Someone's asking, do you always keep an altar to the elders who are living, or is it a response to this time?
It's the response to this time. Usually it's my ancestors, everyone in my family who has passed, or even the current pictures of the ones I get every year. I add them, and they're all in different parts of the house, but the main altar where I light candles and we have sage are for the family who has passed.
Talk about the response for this time.
But for this time, it's for all people who are vulnerable, or who you want to pray for, who we're concerned about. And it doesn't matter the age, but of course, elders are the most vulnerable. And I have to remind you, I don't have all the photographs here yet. My sister is not here yet, the one who is in a home.
What's her name?
Her name is Evangeline, or Chilina.
Mm-hmm. We need to get her picture out.
Yes. And Rosie, to tell you the truth, is a very healthy, vibrant woman. But she's, I just pray for all of us, all of them who we don't know how this thing is going to happen.
Someone's asking, what Easter or spring traditions do you have for your ofrenda?
Well, I followed my mother's tradition. She would have a beautiful altar all in white for Sábado de Gloria, I guess you call it Holy Saturday. But as a
Which
child,
is tomorrow.
pardon?
It's tomorrow.
It's, yes, tomorrow. Usually for today, when I was a child, now she didn't continue it as she got older. But we on a Good Friday, we couldn't turn the radio on. But she had La Dolorosa, Our Lady of Sorrow, draped in black, and with candles. And so we observed all the holy days. My mother was brought up that way in Mexico. She came from a little town in Guanímaro, and her whole life was around not only the celebrations from the church, the personal family celebrations, and decorating, and altars, and making things. Like the woman who made the mother who made the tinfoil
Butterflies.
My mother made tinfoil reflectors, flowers. Paper was a wonderful task. But getting back to the Sábado de Gloria, my vision, and many times that influences me, my aesthetic vision or practice of any altar. It was all in white. On my mother, the next day on Holy Saturday, everything was white. My mother grew gladiolas, carnations, and that I remember were the
Calla lilies.
And we had a really sparse living room. We lived in an adobe house here in East L.A. The last of the adobe houses. I don't know when they were built, but this was in the 1930s. And she had a yard with all these gardens, and they would cut flowers for the altar, and she would make it on top of a chest of drawers, and she built it up with boxes from the yard, and then it was all dressed in a white sheet and always white flowers, and of course a photograph of of Jesus Christ resurrected, and I would wake up knowing that we had a beautiful altar the next day. On Saturday morning, I would get up and go, and there it was. My mother would work during the night to have it for us, and
That's
so
beautiful.
that was a great influence on my.
Do you have something to light the sage, Mom?
Yes. I have to get a match for the sage. I still have things here, but
Well, let's do that because
is
it's
the
going on.
tank coming?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's some more things that she's going to put.
I made this little maguey.
Oh,
The maguey is another icon that is.
this is a maguey sheet. It's made out of paper.
It's an old
It needs to be opened up, but it's made with paper and wire, and it's on a little paper bottom. But the maguey is like really important for our family. It's grandmother called the tree of life, and we. My mom's done altars that depict the maguey as the tree of life with the big stalk and the branches where she hung photos of my grandmother and grandfather, like literally a family tree. It's really beautiful. And I'm just going to show you some of the other items that my mom has kind of staged for this altar. We may not get to it during this broadcast. Because we need to light the sage and all that, but it's coming. Needless to say, we are hoping that we're getting to do this with you. We've been sitting and, planning what we're going to do next in our studio, but thank you to ACTA for giving us that little prod to get this done. And so why don't you stand it there?
And I want to say how grateful we are to ACTA. We've had a long association with traditional altars and events that highlight our traditions, not only culturally but spiritually, especially spiritually. And so I'm so grateful that we've had this opportunity to share what we do. And I think you should see Rosanna too. Rosanna and I have been working together for many years since she was a teenager. But my other children, Denise, my son Javi, my son Alec, my son Ben, my daughter Jackie, my daughter Dr. Elena. Leonard has helped too, and so they have become the team of Altar. And David. Well, I have 9 children, and
I think you got them all.
I think I did. And so they have been an integral part of my work for many years now, and so my mother is so happy, I'm sure, because that was so important of her to pass on the tradition and to carry on this remembrance. And, I feel very confident that when I'm not going to be here anymore, that it's going to keep going.
You're good. Smudge. Just go ahead and smudge.
First of all, my brother Rudy, Stella, JP, Rosie, Angelina, who's not here yet. My son Alec, his picture is going to go here. It's in a box under there. And, my Stephanie.
And just for kicks, I'm going to show you her little doll collection. Or just her little tiny toys. Miniatures. They're packed all the way to the back. It's not just what you see in the front. It's not lit, but there's, I don't know, maybe there's 1,000 pieces in there. I don't know. Even these little plastic ones.
They were my son, children's and grandchildren's.
I don't know if you can see that. She's a collector. So we're going to sign off, okay?
We're going to sign off.
Yeah.
It's almost sad to sign off, but thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.
Bye,
You
everybody.
take care of yourself. You all. See you soon. Thank you, Amy.
God bless you all. We love
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for watching.